What's going on, guys? We are back for another special Mandalorian open spoiler discussion, and I got my guy Jake with me. Say hello, Jake.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, man. How are you doing?
Great.
Awesome.
Just woke up. Good sleep.
Cool. Good, man. Yeah, like I told you right before we went on, I watched it one more time. I wanted to get one more viewing in before we talked about it, so it's like fresh in my head. So we're going to get into all of it, all the Mando spoiler talk. Real quick before we get into that. All right, real quick before we get into that. I wanted to just go over some of the business stuff really quick of the channel. So this is the Mandalorian Open Spoilers Talk for Episode 14, Season 2, Episode 6. This is an open spoiler talk, which means we will be talking openly about what happened on The Mandalorian. So if you've not seen the latest episode of The Mandalorian, you need to check out now. If you have, stick around and comment below on what you guys thought about The Mandalorian episode. We want to hear from you and what you guys think. There are a few ways to do that. We're streaming on Twitch, we're streaming on Facebook, we're streaming on YouTube. You can comment in the live feed on all three of those right now. Plus, you can also comment via the tip link, which is streamlabs.com/movieidiot. When you comment with the tip link, you support the channel, and we all appreciate that here. And yeah, so we're going to get right into it here. So, Jake, this one's called The Tragedy. And before we get into the whole synopsis of the episode, one sentence, what did you think of the episode? Go.
I disliked this episode.
So here's what I'm gonna say. I liked it. I think I like it better than you did, obviously. I enjoyed the episode, but I do have some problems with it, and I'm definitely gonna get into those. And yeah, I think it does stem from the director. I'm pretty sure most of my problems stem from the director. So that's kind of where I'm at. So, all right, let's dig into it. So we picked up right where we left off last time, right? So they're traveling from the planet where they found Ahsoka, and they're going to the new planet with the Jedi Temple and the stone.
For you, I made specific note, the planet is called Typhon.
Thank you, because I never remember the planet names.
We've done this like 6 times now, so I was like, when she said the planet, I'm like, Typhon.
Yes, Typhon. All right, so cool. Thank you. So planet Typhon, awesome. And then the Jedi Temple there. They get to the planet. As they're approaching the planet, I love how they're basically playing fetch with the little metal ball. That was kind of funny. Good comic relief or whatever, basic, your typical Baby Yoda stuff, right? So they get to the temple. He sets him on the rock, and Baby Yoda's just sitting there, not doing anything. And, there's a little butterfly, and it flies, and he's just sitting there. And all of a sudden, Mando's distracted from a ship. And it is what a lot of people have been waiting for. And, oh, here, let me get the wide view on that so everybody can see. There it is, Slave One. Slave One has made its appearance on The Mandalorian. So it is Slave One. Slave One gets there, and of course, Mando doesn't know who this is, so he turns around to go to the kid. Now, before he saw the ship, he's like, "Kid, come on, do something." She said if I put you on the rock, nothing's happening. He turns around after he looks at the ship. All of a sudden, Baby Yoda is doing this meditation thing, and this giant force beam, I don't even, what do you want to call it? Like a barrier, I guess? A force barrier? Yeah. This giant force barrier is all around him. And he's like, hey, hurry up. And he tries to run up and get him, and he runs into it and falls down. So this is an impenetrable, I guess, force barrier. I don't think we've ever seen anything like that in Star Wars. I don't remember ever seeing anything like that. I know they had some temple stuff in like Rebels and Clone Wars, but I don't remember ever seeing anything quite like that. But, I mean, it was cool looking, I guess. But so visually, it was very cool, I thought. So Mando, of course, can't get through the barrier, runs down, he's like, all right, I'm going to buy some time. Hurry up, runs down to go check out what's going on with the ship. All of a sudden, 2 shots hit a rock, and out steps Boba Fett. And there it is. First real, tangible appearance of Boba Fett, instead of just a quick flash cameo. So Boba Fett's there, and he says to him, hey, I'm here for the armor. And Mando says back, you're going to have to peel my armor off my dead skin. And he says, well, I'm not here for your armor. I'm here for my armor, the armor you got from Cobb Vanth. that is mine. To which then Mandos, replies, "Are you Mandalorian?" And he's like, "Did you take the creed?" And he says the line that Django says. It's a famous line from Django, I think. In which one was that? The third one, the third prequel.
Attack of the Clones, I think.
Yeah, or the second one. Okay, so the second prequel movie. So that was kind of an Easter egg line there, a reference. So he says the line, I forget the exact line, so you'll have to bear with me if I totally butcher this, but basically that he's a journeyman and he doesn't have whatever. Anyway, the point being, says Django's line, and then he says, plus I got a sharpshooter up here, and Mando's basically like, well, I have Beskar, so you're not going to get anywhere with that. He's like, well, she's not aiming at you, she's aiming at the baby, and which she then replies from up top, and I'm a good shot, which we find out then this is the girl from season 1, a Ming-Na's character, which I can't remember her name either. Did you take a note of that by any chance? No. But it's Ming-Na's character from season 1 where she got killed on Tatooine. So obviously it was Boba that found her at the end. And then he talks her down. They basically, talk him down to like a ceasefire. She comes down and, shows him like all these internal, like mechanical organs that she has or something, basically showing now that she's part robot or something. So apparently Boba saved her. And that's kind of where we're at from there. So before I continue going up to there, A, did I forget anything? And B, so up to that point, did you have issues or were you still okay at that point?
No, I had issues right away.
You had issues right away. All right. So
I should say that. So Baby Yoda thing was fine. It was very clearly an impenetrable force projection, so that I was like, as soon as he couldn't get him, I'm like, oh, great. So now we know where this is going to go. But that's fine. I understand that.
Yeah.
My first big problem with the episode is he starts right away. Boba Fett, instead of telling him to put down his gun, he tells him, take off your jetpack.
Yeah. That was...
I'm like, oh, great. Because now he's not going to have his jetpack the entire episode.
So, yeah. And I'm going to get to that. I have something to say about that, but I want to get to it after we go through everything.
Right.
But, yes. I thought that was just weird in general. Why wouldn't you say put down your gun? Because
we'll talk. We know
why. Because they
right.
needed it for story, but... Yeah,
so that was my first problem, and I knew it was going to be a problem right away.
Yeah. So, and it stands out. It so blatantly stands out that he's like, take off your jetpack. Like, that was the first thing. I was like, why? And I was watching it with Kelly, actually. So we were watching the whole thing, and she's same thing. She's like, why? Why are we doing that? So I totally didn't get that either. But obviously now we know why. Because it helps the story along, which we'll get to later. So, but I don't think I forgot anything else. But thank you for pointing out the jetpack, because that's definitely something I wanted to point out. All right, so at this point, they decide to do the ceasefire. They see the Imperial troop ship drop down or fly and then start to land. He runs, hauls ass back up to Baby Yoda, runs headfirst into the impenetrable force barrier that he already knows he can't get through. So he did it 3 times in this episode. I
didn't mind this. The second time, I was like, okay, go for broke. And then the third time, I'm like,
he's not stupid, so he should have known. Like I did have a problem. It's a minor problem, I guess, but I totally did have a problem with that.
He was knocked out.
He knocked out cold. Yeah. So the third time, I was like, I don't know why he's doing that. So yeah, I did have a problem with that as well. Anyway, he couldn't get through. He's knocked out cold now. And then Boba and man, I really wish I should look up her character name really quick.
I'll look it up. You keep talking.
Yeah, Boba and Ming-Na's character start engaging the stormtroopers. There was a cool little moment when the stormtrooper ship had landed and it opened up, and the troopers are coming out. And it was reminiscent of kind of that opening scene in Force Awakens where the troopers drop and they come running out of the ship. I felt like the cinematography was very similar to that. I felt like that was a kind of a total callback to that moment there. What was her name?
Fennec Shan.
Fennec Shan, that's it. Fennec, yes. So So I thought that moment was cool when the doors open and the stormtroopers come running out. That was kind of a cool little callback to Force Awakens, because it's almost the exact shot for shot scene when they run out of the troop ship or whatever. So I thought that was kind of cool. So they start taking on the stormtroopers. Now this next part is where you definitely see Robert Rodriguez come out, and it harkens back to like that grindhouse, that brutal, that brutal kind of feel. And Boba just starts killing people. He's got that club, and he's just like beating the hell out of these stormtroopers. Some of the more like violent, visceral shots you're gonna see in Star Wars. Like, you don't normally see bludgeoning, and he's just like straight up bludgeoning them. So before we get past that part, what do you think of that particular shot scene and sequence right there of Boba Fett fighting the stormtroopers?
That was the part I hated the most.
Really? Okay. All right. I want to hear. Go ahead. Why? What is
Because it felt, that whole stormtrooper fighting scene, not just his, but I mean more specifically his, fell into the old trope of guys with guns running and not shooting into a guy with a club.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I guess you're supposed to suspend belief because he's Boba Fett, right?
I get it. They haven't felt so far in this show, they haven't fell into any of those tropes.
Yeah.
Like the stormtroopers being completely inept, which I get, and that's what I mean. I get that that's what it is. That's what Star Wars does with the stormtroopers, is that they can't hit anything. But Boba Fett is such this deadly guy, and I get it. He was deadly, but they're running from yards and yards away without shooting into a guy with a club, and I was just like this. It was bad. It was cool to see him crush dudes' heads with the end of that club. Great.
Yeah.
But I was just like, this guy has been gone for 40 years from the screens, or 38 years, and I just expected more. And I'll talk about it more as you go on. But that's
kind of your initial. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I love the brutality of the scene. Don't get me wrong, because again, you don't see that. You don't see people clubbing people normally too much in Star Wars. So I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, I kind of agree in the sense with you that I did again question, why is he taking on a whole squadron of stormtroopers with a club? It doesn't make sense, and it's not. He has a gun. I mean, he literally walked up with a gun, so it's not like So I had issue with as well. But I will say I did like the way they did that scene, even though it is not very believable, I guess. So, all right. So he's taking on the squadron of stormtroopers. Ming-Na's helping. Finally, Mando wakes up, and then I think he tries again, doesn't he? After he wakes up, he goes and tries to get Baby Yoda again, falls down yet again, but doesn't get knocked out this time. Gets up, comes back down, and then ends up by Fennec. Ming-Na's character, Fennec, ends up by her. They're back to back, and he's basically standing there taking fire in the Beskar armor while she's kind of dipping out and shooting people and then dipping back behind him. And then Baby Yoda finishes his ET phone home maneuver or whatever he's doing up there on the temple. And then it happens. They send in the Dark Troopers. Dark Troopers come down. Oh, no, wait. No, shit. I almost skipped a part. A huge part, actually. So they're pinned down. Mando and Fennec are pinned down, and then it happens. Boba shows up in his armor. So he apparently had time to run to Mando's ship. Mando left the ship open, apparently.
That's another thing that I was going to talk about.
Yes. So that was one thing I noticed too. Did he just leave the ship open?
He always does. And I forget to bring it up every episode. He always leaves his ship open.
Yeah. So runs in there, gets his armor, chases off all the stormtroopers, just starts shooting them. Now, did he in the other movies he was in, did he ever use like the knee missile thing?
No,
that was a new thing, right?
That part was, I mean, see, when he got his armor on and he started doing that was awesome.
Yeah, it was a really cool sequence. That was the one thing that stood out the most. I was like, what's that knee missile thing that he like kind of crouched down and like these little missiles came out of his knees? But like, I don't know, it was cool. It was cool, still cool. And then, so the stormtroopers run back to their ships. They take off, and then of course, because apparently Boba Fett's armor just grows new missiles. Like, I don't know where they got another missile from, but they got one, and he shoots it. Now, it was pretty cool, though. A good shot. He hits the one ship, and it runs into the other ship, and Mando's like, oh, great shot. And he's like, well, I was aiming for the other one, but whatever. So, destroys both ships. They're done, and then that's when they send in the Dark Troopers. So, Moff Gideon sends in the Dark Troopers. The Dark Troopers come down to the temple, and Baby Yoda's tuckered out after doing his whole phone home ET force projection thing. So they pick him up rather. The way he sat up and looked at the Dark Troopers when they went to get him, it looked like he was going to just start going crazy and just start like forcing, but he didn't.
I thought so too.
Yeah, he just stood there. So they grab him and immediately fly away. Boba immediately jumps into Slave 1 and chases them. Oh, I missed another thing. Damn it. Right before the Dark Troopers come, they destroyed the Razor Crest. Yeah. So from above, the Imperial starship destroys the Razor Crest. There's no the Razor Crest, can we say it now? There's no fixing it, right? It's done.
No, it's done.
It's done. Now, my question then is the Razor Crest a type of ship, or was that the name of his ship specifically?
I think it's a type of ship.
Okay, so it's possible he can just get another Razor Crest.
Like the Slave 1 is a Spitfire.
Yeah.
So I think it's the type of ship, because Razor Crest doesn't sound like a personal name. Okay, so there's a possibility he could get another ship that looks just like it. Because, like, I'm like, dude, if they try to say that they're rebuilding this from the little tiny pieces on the ground, I am that might make me check out altogether. Because it's already been a little overboard with we're fixing his ship again. It's all good. So, but anyway, so ship's disintegrated. The Dark Troopers come down, take the baby up, and he's sifting through the remnants of the ship, and he finds two things. First thing, of course, is the little silver ball, and then the second thing is the Beskar spear that's completely untouched. Everything else is completely disintegrated and gone. So they flash up. Boba's chasing after the Imperial starship in Slave 1. Chasing after them, he's gonna shoot down the Dark Troopers. Mando says no, because I don't want you to hit the kid. And then they get into the ship, and that's when Boba's like, they're back, and he's like, what do you mean? And Mando's like, what do you mean they're back? And he's like, the Empire is back. And I think it was Fennec who says, well, that's impossible. And he's like, well, I'm staring at an Imperial starship right now, and it's not a spice dream, so they're back. So the Imperial starship takes off, and then it goes back down, flashes back down to Mando and Boba, and that's when Mando was sifting through a ship. And then it flashes back up to on the starship, and then you see Moff Gideon walking into the cell where Grogu is. And here's another scene where Grogu's sitting there literally lifting and throwing around stormtroopers. And he gets to a point where he lifts them both up, and he's got them in chokeholds. And during that, I'm like, is he going to kill him? Like, is he straight up just going to, like, choke him to death? And then it starts making me wonder, like, is Grogu really going to be evil? Is it like, are we going to get through this whole thing and he's going to end up turning into like a Sith Lord or something? So I question that. But then, of course, he gets tired. So then he slams them together. And, Moff Gideon's like, oh, that makes you really tired. He shows him the Darksaber, and Grogu's kind of like, ooh. And he's like, nope, you can't play with that. Puts it away. And that's basically where we end. That's it. So they put him in shackles, and that's it. So kind of the last thing you see, I think, is Grogu in shackles laying there in the cell, and they close the door, and that's the end of the episode. So, did I miss anything? No.
Okay, cool. All right. Now that we got through the whole synopsis, Your full thoughts. Go.
Strongly disliked it. I thought the whole fight scene with the save the Boba Fett getting back in his armor was terrible. The Dark Troopers looked terrible, in my opinion. The Mando running into the force field 3 times was dumb. I like that they destroyed the Razor Crest. I don't like it because I like the ship, but I thought it was like a cool thing because that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I did like. We'll see how the next episode is because I like how Boba Fett and Fennec did say like, no, we had a deal. We're gonna help you get the child back, which was that was a big part of it. Them saying we had a deal, armor for the safety of your child and you, so we'll help you. Which I mean, it was good. I really felt that I was very excited for Boba Fett to come back, and I feel like this episode just did not. It for me, it was not what I wanted, what I was expecting. So that's it, really.
Okay. All right. So actually, there was one other thing I forgot. I just realized it. They made a pit stop on Cara Dune. They went back to see her. Yeah. But that was just a really quick thing. He asked her to look up the prisoner from season 1.
It was Bill Burr. Yeah, Bill
Burr's character. So it looks like they're gonna spring him. So So I don't know why he picked him and why. Unsure. I'm sure they'll explain later. So, all right. So my kind of thoughts. I enjoyed it more than you did. I did enjoy it. There are some things I did like about it. Like I said, I like the brutality and the even though it was stupid, he was fighting a whole squadron of troopers with a club. I still liked how they did that. I thought that was cool. I definitely loved the scene where he's got his armor back. That was awesome. I agree with you on a lot of points. I felt like the CGI in this one was subpar in a lot of scenes. When he's flying with Grogu in the armor to the temple, he's flying with the jetpack with the windows down scene. It looked very green screen to me. It looked like it just not very well done. Like you said, the Dark Troopers did not look all that great. The only thing CGI-wise that looked awesome was the force field thing. That looked really cool. That was very well done. Now, I paid special attention this last time when I watched it to see it was Favreau who wrote the episode. So it wasn't Rodriguez that wrote it. He just directed it. But this episode definitely visually has a lot of Rodriguez all over it. And for me, it felt like his Robert Rodriguez, of course, has done like Grindhouse, but he's also done Spy Kids. And he, I just felt like it was a melding of Spy Kids, Grindhouse, and Star Wars. It's like they threw all 3 together. It was that cheesy cinematic feel of Spy Kids, and then the one scene has the brutality of Grindhouse based in a Star Wars world. That's basically how it came across to me. So yeah, and it was very the way the cinematic style of Robert Rodriguez. You can just see it, but I didn't like it. It just didn't fit. I felt like in The Mandalorian itself, it felt different, and like I said, a lot of the shots didn't look that great because of, I think, the way he shoots things. That's just the way I feel about that. The other thing is, like I said, I watched it with my girlfriend. She literally was predicting the episode the whole way through. The whole thing, like everything. Like as soon, like the jetpack scene, she's like, well, that's going to come into play later. You know, they're probably going to get to, Baby Yoda. And then when the ship is blown up, when the Razor Crest is blown up and he's sifting through the rubble, she's like, he's going to find the silver ball, and just, there were other things. She's just literally calling it before it happens. Very predictable. So yeah, and it's funny because you said, like, starting this whole thing off, you're like, it's an unpopular opinion. You didn't like it. I thought this was one of the weakest episodes. I agree. I still enjoyed it. Like, I enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but I felt it was one of the weakest episodes, and I I'm with you, and it's funny because I look out there and so many people think this is the best, awesomest episode.
No,
and
this is probably the unpopular opinion. I think this is the weakest episode of the series.
Yeah, well,
where it could have been.
I put it right there with that Tatooine episode from season 1. I put it right there. It's right in that wheelhouse. The other thing I didn't like was the acting. Honestly, I didn't like. Boba Fett just came across as very, I don't know, like just bland, like stoically bland. Yeah. And then Fennec, Ming Na's a pretty decent actress. I felt like she just came across as bland as well, like nothing there. And I guess maybe, there was just a very action-packed episode. The other thing that my girlfriend brought up when we were watching it, she's like, this just feels like a filler episode with a lot of action. And that I totally agreed with. It's
100%. It was a filler episode with Boba Fett.
Yeah, it's a filler episode with Boba Fett and a ton of action. It's a setup for whatever is coming. And I'm sure whatever is coming is going to have an awesome payoff. But yeah, it's just really, really filler episode. The Razor Crest getting destroyed I thought was great, though. I really, actually, I was like, they did it! They finally did it! And all that setup with all the times it got taken apart or whatever, and they finally blew it up. So I thought that was good. I really enjoyed that part of it. But yeah, I'm kind of with you, man. It just didn't really do it for me completely. Again, enjoyable, but not the best stuff. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, no, like, I keep thinking about, as soon as he turned off the jetpack or took off the jetpack, I was like, well, he's getting. As soon as he took off the jetpack, I knew that baby was getting taken.
Yeah,
I was like, because he's not going to be able to get up. I was like, they're going to pull him away from this mountaintop, and he's not going to be able. And sure enough, they're running to get up there, and I'm like, oh, what would be great is if you had a jetpack.
Yeah,
like why?
Exactly.
After you made nice, why wouldn't you put the jetpack back on?
And the other thing is I felt like when he ran down the mountain, he got down really quick, but getting back up the mountain took freaking forever. That's where I felt like it was very Spy Kids-esque, like it was cheap. It was cheap. Yeah, I agree. Cheap, very cheap. That's a great way to put it. I think it was very cheap.
And then when, again, with this action scene, she's shooting everybody one shot in every person around, and then they're setting up the turret, and she looks at them through the scope and then doesn't shoot the guy setting up the turret.
Oh yeah, she pushes the rock.
Yeah, and then, but I mean that's after, but that's not before. They have a turret, so they can shoot like this, and she runs sideways along the ridge. I'm like, and I get it. And I know if people watch it, they're like, yeah, guys, it's a TV show. I get that, but they haven't done this stuff yet.
You know what though? What you just said is it. It hasn't felt like a TV show until this episode.
Yeah, where they're making stupid decisions.
Yeah, it felt like a TV show.
Yeah, because she's running along the ridge instead of going backwards, so that they can't shoot her. And I'm just, that was the part where I was like, oh my, okay, so this is what they're doing this week? This super tropey, million bullets flying at me, and that's honestly.
And again, that's that Grindhouse feel. That's straight out of the Grindhouse. He's got the Gatling gun, and dude, it's straight out of Grindhouse. It's just with Star Wars, basically. Yeah.
And that's why, like with Ahsoka, even though she could have killed those guys last week easily, she was disappearing and then reappearing.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, I like that. She's not fighting 70 guys, all having nuclear bombs that are blowing up, and that's this episode. It just felt, like I said, it felt really cheap on how they sold all of the things that happened. Yeah. And that was why I was just not into this episode. I thought this was the worst episode I've seen. It just had Boba Fett in it. And even that, like I said, I agreed with you 100%. The acting, he's not a bad actor.
Yeah.
But he was super, I don't know, I just felt it was
very robotic. Just very robotic, and I just, and maybe that's what they wanted. I don't know. I just
maybe make the episode 5 minutes longer and give us a little bit of exposition on how he survived to spice it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was I don't know. I was watching it, and usually I'm like, yes, I want more of this. And then this week I was like, I'm glad this episode is over because I was not into it.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't think I feel as bad as you do about it. But I do agree with you in the sense that I feel like it's definitely one of the worst. And I don't know. I don't know if whoever's watching out there, guys, comment below. What did you guys think? Because I'm curious to know what other people think too. As far as like if they liked it and didn't like it. Like I said, most of the stuff I've seen on Facebook and like a lot of the other pundits love it, and they think, oh my God, this is great, and I'm just like, why am I not feeling this when everybody else is just like, this is so awesome? And I get that Boba Fett came back, but just because Boba Fett came back doesn't mean you should ignore all the stupid shit that happened. I don't know, man. It was kind of a bummer for me in that, but I also, like I keep saying, I did enjoy it. It's not like I hated it. Like that's not, where I was at with it, I guess. I don't know. I struggle with this stuff.
I mean, yeah. Am I glad that it was on? Yeah. Am I glad that I get to watch some Star Wars every week? Yeah.
Yeah.
But as far as we're going from, the past 3 episodes have been so strong that to hit a bump this late in the season, was a big. I shouldn't say because I texted you. I hated it. I didn't hate it. It's like when your parents, I'm not mad, I'm just really disappointed.
Yes, that is an excellent description. Yes.
Just going, like I said, this season being so strong and the last couple episodes being so great, having this one be so subpar, that's a good word. That's the word I'll use to describe this episode. Subpar.
Yeah.
That it caught me off guard and left me let down.
Yeah, I that's a great description. Subpar. I like that one. Yeah. I will say this. My least favorite episode last season was the Tatooine episode. But as this series has gone on and they have now cherry-picked things from that episode that have been used later, that episode actually I think is better in the long story form because of how they've tied things in. It could end up being a thing where these next 2 episodes kind of tie stuff in and make it better, but a lot of the critiques aren't so much that kind of thing, so I don't know if I'm going to feel that way or not, but it's possible that I might feel better about this episode, after the next 2 if they tie things in well, but I just, like you said... go ahead.
I disagree.
Well, because the big problems aren't...
The things we're complaining about aren't something that you can be like,
yeah, that's true.
In later, well, the things we're complaining about, like you even said, the CGI, they made this huge deal about these. And I didn't have a problem with the flying. The Death Troopers looked bad.
Do you know what they looked like? Have you ever seen the movie Real Steel?
Yes.
They look like the big giant robot in Real Steel.
Yeah, they just I thought they were going to be these. First of all, I thought they were going to be like these clone troopers, like these actual things, and then to find out that they're just droids.
Yeah.
Which again, I know, like in Clone Wars and Rebels, they had those like fighting super ninja droids, which I was like, I was like, eh.
But that fit. I mean, honestly, look, say what you want about the prequels, but the prequels, at least, the whole story was planned out, and Lucas had a plan through the whole thing, and the fact that they had droids in that were part of the droid army so it fit the narrative story. This doesn't fit. Now, granted, it's post-Empire, so we really don't know, I guess, what fits. My curious thing is, are those things made of Beskar? Are they going to be like indestructible droids,
Oh, I mean, maybe, but
I can fully see that being a thing. But
yeah, because that's there's not like a million of them. Then there's only like 20 of them.
Yeah,
I don't know. I thought when they landed like 4, and then walked to it. I was just like, oh.
It was again. It reminded me of Real Steel when the like the robot jumps into the ring and it's like, "Urgh." Yeah, they seemed very robotic and in their movements. I did think that the Dark Troopers were going to be kind of like a combination. So like almost Vader-esque, where like you have a person who's part machine, you know, like that's what I was expecting. And yeah, definitely was not expecting basically droids. Yeah, I mean, they're straight up droids, it looks like. Unless they have like trooper brains or something. I don't know, but
I don't know either. I don't know. I just that was bad, and that what I think really what got me the most was like you said, Mando's actually I have two things I forgot. One, Mando's a smart guy, and he tries 3 times to get the kids. Like it's clearly not working. And another thing, I was like, he's a kid. We got to go. I'm like, you've already learned that when you say Grogu, he looks at you,
and he doesn't say his name the whole time. Yes,
yeah. I thought that was gonna be like the final thing where he runs up and goes Grogu, and he like snaps out of it.
Yeah,
I'm like, you were just doing it in the ship, calling him Grogu, and he would look.
Yeah. Yeah, they set that up so perfectly and then never used it. I thought the same thing. I'm glad you brought that up. Thought the same exact thing. Like, hey, kid, we gotta go. Kid. I'm literally going, say his name. Like, yeah, that was stupid too.
And then and of course I forgot my other point that I was gonna say.
Oh shit, sorry, dude.
Not your fault. Go ahead, talk. I'll think about it.
Yeah. So yeah. That was definitely one of the things that I also just hated. Just again, because you set it up so well on that little scene right at the beginning on the ship, and then you turn around and don't use that at all, and that was disappointing too. I do agree. The more we're talking about it, the more I'm disliking the episode. To be honest.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. But again, like I'm not going to say I hated it because, again, it was enjoyable. It's still better than a lot of things out there. It's just, as far as Mandalorian goes, it's subpar, like you said. I think it's just subpar, and that's just another reason why right there. So, did you come up with your
No,
second?
it was something that Mando did, and I can't think of what it was now, but it's all right. It was just another example of...
I had another thing. So when they went to see Cara Dune, he walks in, and he's just like, leisurely walking in. What's up, Kara? Oh, you're a marshal now? Just shooting the shit instead of going, dude, the kid's been taken. Get your ass up. Let's go. He's, you know, it's, oh, hey, how's it going? Oh, I see you're the marshal, like official, you know, Republic marshal now, you know, and just all the small talk. And I'm sitting here going, why is he not in a hurry? Why is he not moving? Like, that was another, again, and I know it's a lot of nitpicks, but I just felt like, especially
this episode left itself open to a lot of nitpicking.
Yes, it did.
Last week's didn't. Most of the season hasn't. I don't think we're those, because I pride myself, and I feel the same about you. We are not those Star Wars fans who, well, the armor should have been greener because we're saying legitimate things. I allow a lot because I know it's a movie. I know it's a TV show. And so you're like, that's fine. I get that. And I'll suspend disbelief for a lot of that stuff. But this episode it wasn't good. Yeah. There was too many things that just made no sense.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing is, it's funny you mentioned, the armor isn't green or whatever as a complaint that people usually have, right? So I thought, and I felt like through this whole thing, Favreau has done such a great job with details like the fact that Boba Fett's armor is, very worn now, obviously, because it's very old, and they've done such a great job with all the attention to detail, and the fact that on this episode they didn't. They just that attention to detail was not there, and I'm guessing it's the director. I'm guessing that Rodriguez, but then again, Favreau wrote it. A lot of the issues we have are in the writing.
I blame Jon Favreau as much as I blame, because Favreau didn't write the fights. I mean, they don't write a fight scene like that. They do the dialogue. They say, "Hey, there's a fight scene where he's on the ridge." He didn't say like smashed him over the head with that.
So you think that they say, oh, there's a fight scene, but he doesn't tell them how to do the fight scene. He gives them more free reign to pick that. Because if that's the case, then that choice was made by Robert Rodriguez.
That's what I think the story was weak. Period. So I think Jon Favreau was just to blame. But no, I don't think they hire. There's a reason they hired Robert Rodriguez for this episode because of the stuff you've talked about. He's done Grindhouse. So I don't think they're saying he swings the club from left to right, hits him in the head.
Well, no, but he could, like, the writing could definitely say that the weapon is the club, you know, which then he has to worry. So that, I mean, I don't know who to blame on that, you know, like
I don't
that
know.
kind of thing.
I guess we'd have to see the script.
I guess also, like, you know, Mando trying 3 times to get to Baby Yoda, that's got to be in the writing. I mean, I can't imagine. Yeah. So, like, not all of it's Rodriguez's fault, but I do feel like a lot of the cinematography stuff and the effects work and the way he put that together, like, this show has been so great with its effects work, and this is the first time I've been like, oh, that doesn't look good. And again, the scenes with Grogu looked great. The scenes, well, it's minus the troopers, the dark troopers, but the scenes like with the Force stuff, that looked awesome. I thought that was really visually stunning. But the scene, especially the scene where Mando is flying with him with the jetpack to the temple, I was like, this looks terrible. Like,
it did look very superimposed.
Yeah, and that's the first time I have said that throughout this whole thing. And look, maybe they just didn't have, maybe they saved the budget for the end, you know, like, because they obviously used a ton of budget on the first episode for sure, and so maybe they're saving the budget for the end. But yeah,
I think this is the first episode where it was. Because we've said it before, but we always retract it. I'm going to leave it this time. This is a filler episode with Boba Fett.
Yeah. Yep, I fully agree. And that's been my feeling. It's filler episode with tons of action, and yes, Boba Fett. And Fennec, too, because they brought back that character. So obviously they have...
I mean, like the big...
But the big reveal was Boba, yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's filler episode, and yeah. So with that being said, I got looks like 1 tip comment on here, and this comes from Bick Mitchum. He says, I loved it. Boba was so brutal, and Grogu and the Force powers, and I think I shit my pants. Okay. I disagree, but I will say the brutality of Boba I did love. I thought that was cool, even though, like you said, using a club on a whole battalion of stormtroopers sucks. I did.
Yeah, and by the way, like, we didn't even bring up why do stormtroopers even wear armor? And we've debate. I mean, this has been said for years, but like,
that's a Star Wars thing.
Exactly. I'm saying that's what I wanted to say. We're being fair because we didn't even bring up it doesn't protect you against space. It doesn't protect you against poisons. It doesn't protect you against blasters. And now you can't even get hit without dying.
There is actually a whole episode in Clone Wars where they go into this room and there's poison gas, and they're like, oh no, our masks don't protect against poison gas. They're just a filtration system. It's like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I know that. I was like, I always think that. I'm like, that's one of the things I thought. And again, I'm not mad about it because that is classic Star Wars.
Yeah.
Their armor does absolutely zero.
And yet, when you take the helmets off, they unseal.
They go. So I always think that. I'm like, do they just not want to buy them clothes? Or
I think they just think they're expendable is basically the point. It's just they're pawns, just keep throwing them out there. They can just get mowed down. Who cares? I don't know, man. I thought that too. Yeah, I agree with you mostly. Filler episode, but again, we'll see where it goes next week. So that was the only comment we had this week. So, with that, how about some closing thoughts, man? Give it your closing thoughts.
I'm really hoping next week they kick it back into high gear. I am a little worried with this ensemble they're creating now, with Bill Burr, Fennec, Boba, Mando, Cara, is Apollo Creed coming along for the ride?
Oh, he will. He's got to, right?
What's his name again? Do you remember?
No. Shit.
It's like I don't remember it either.
Damn it.
That's why I call him Apollo. Oh, Grief.
Yes, Grief. Yeah. Something Grief.
Karga. Grief Karga.
Grief Karga. There you go.
I still call him Apollo Creed, just like the Office. Apollo Creed. No,
Carl Weathers.
So I am a little curious as to how they're going to do that next week, because this has been a pretty Mando and somebody
Yeah.
season.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how they do that. I don't know. I truly don't know. I mean, I know they're going to go get the kid. I know that's now we know how they're going to finally confront Moff Gideon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy Slave. I've always had a huge affinity for Slave One. I always thought it was like the coolest looking ship.
Oh yeah. I'll give you the wide shot on that again so we can get that in there. There we go.
So I'm happy that is back in the show, but I don't know what to expect now, as far as what's going to be happening.
Yeah.
Other than they're going to go get the kid, and we'll see what happens.
Well, that's the big thing too. It just leaves a lot of questions. There was one other thing. This is the first episode this season that has not followed the formula of Mando goes somewhere, gets sidetracked on a side mission, has to help somebody out, and no quest. It was just right continuation of the story. And I'm thinking maybe we may get that the rest of the way out. So, all right. So you gave your closing thoughts. Out of 10, we've been doing it every week, so let's just keep going with it. Out of 10, what do you say?
6.
Oof. All right. Ouch. That's a D-. Oh, yikes.
Well, I mean, it's still I think below 5 is bad.
Yeah.
A 5 is okay.
Yeah.
I think this is just above okay.
Okay. All right. And then bold prediction.
This is the first week where all right, so because our bold predictions have all been Ahsoka or Boba. So now I guess, but I don't think Thrawn's going to be popping into the next episode. Because what do we have, 2 more?
Yep.
Thrawn will not be in the next episode. That'd be okay. So that's my bold prediction: is that Thrawn somehow makes an appearance in the next episode.
Oh wow! Go ahead. Sorry.
Before they get to the, I'm thinking maybe Thrawn pops up in a hologram.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
So there you go. That's my bold prediction, because they're gonna get Grogu back.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna die. Maybe Boba Fett dies.
I don't think so. I think they're planning a Boba Fett show. So
yeah, but I think that's gonna be before.
Oh, okay. Well, then maybe, yeah. Or they kill off what's her name, Finnick again. They just keep resurrecting her to kill her.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
She's the new Loki of Star Wars. You just
she dies like when they shot General Grievous with the gun and his insides started on fire.
Yeah. Oh man. All right, so I'm gonna go 7. I'm gonna go 7. I'm gonna give it a little more than a 6. I'm gonna go 7 because I really did like I said, even though it was stupid that he was fighting the squadron with the club, it was still really cool how they did it. I really liked that. Loved the whole scene in his armor. Thought that was awesome. And I did I'm very curious about, who Yoda phoned home, or maybe a Grogu phoned home to, I'm curious about that, or if somebody will show up. So since Ahsoka mentioned Thrawn last week, I have spent this week going through the Thrawn books. So I'm 2 in now. I got to get to the last Thrawn novel. What I've learned from that is a Grand Admiral and a Moff, one is not above the other. They're almost like here. And a Moff isn't really like a military distinction. It's more of like a
governor.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So with that being said, I don't think Grand Admiral Thrawn is going to be in this season at all in any way. In fact, I think they're setting up something with a possible Ahsoka spinoff with that. So that's my bold prediction right now. I think we're not going to see Moff Grand Admiral Thrawn at all. Also, what I've learned about Thrawn is he's an amazing tactician, but we can do.
I was going to ask you. I was like, they made him like crazy smart.
Yes.
Like, awesome, but in a believable way.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah, if anybody hasn't read the Thrawn trilogy, definitely get on that because it's great. I could do a whole another video about that. But so that's kind of my first bold prediction. Yes, they're gonna go after Baby Yoda, but I don't know if they're gonna get him back next episode. I think next episode's gonna be more of a expanded setup episode, so the whole gang's gonna get together, and I think everybody you listed's gonna be there. I don't think we're gonna see Bo-Katan or Ahsoka or anything like that. I do think in the final episode we may see Bo-Katan, so that'll be my other bold prediction. I'm still sticking to that because I think I said that before. We're gonna see her again at the end of the season. So my two, no Thrawn, and yes, we will see Bo-Katan. And I think Moff Gideon is going to be done after this season. I think this is the Moff Gideon bad guy season, and then he's done. So I agree. That's my bold prediction. So, all right. Any closing thoughts?
Let's hope for a better week next week.
Yeah, I agree. Hopefully, and I'm sure it probably will be. I don't know who's directing next week. I know Favreau's got one more. And I'm not sure who else is left. So it could be Filoni again. Unsure. Yeah, I don't know. So, but we know I'm almost guaranteed Favreau will probably be the final episode, right? I mean, it's got to be. Yeah. So we'll see. So, all right, man. I got no more comments. So I think that's it for this week. So hope you have a great week, man. And thanks for jumping on as always, dude. And
you too. Thank you very much.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
All right, bye. All right, guys, so that's going to conclude this week's Mandalorian open spoiler discussion. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Again, let us know in the comments below your guys' thoughts on that, either Facebook Live or Twitch or YouTube. Or, of course, you can let us know 24/7 in the tip link as well, streamlabs.com/movieidiot. Again, when you send in comments or questions on the tip link, you help support the channel, which we really appreciate. So, again, let us know what you guys thought about this episode, Mandalorian, episode 14, or also known as Season 2, Episode 6, The Tragedy. And yeah, so, one more thing. Of course, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, all that fun stuff. Again, help us build this channel and build this awesome film fan community that we're trying to build here. So we'd really appreciate it if you did that. So again, guys, thank you for checking us out. And Jake will be back with me next week after we watch the next episode of The Mandalorian. So hope you all have a great week. And I will catch you Friday morning, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, right here on the Movie Idiot channel for the Movie Idiot live show. We do it every Friday at 9 a.m. So 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. So we'll see you guys then. Have a great one. And I'm out of here. Peace.